Suikoden II. Where do I start? This was a game I stumbled onto through pure luck. Back in 2000, a friend of mine, out of the kindness of his heart, decided to temporarily trade his copy of the game with one of my games. Little did he know at the time, but I would soon do everything in my power to never see him again, or at least never swap the games back. So what is Suikoden? I had never heard of it. The series was clearly overshadowed by the hugely popular Final Fantasy series. At the time of release, Suikoden II was getting great reviews, but it soon became a title that was incredibly hard to track down. Unfortunately, the Suikoden name slowly began to die after the 5th installment in 2006, and this put a huge amount of hardcore fans like myself into a deep state of depression. This was until late last year, when the PlayStation Store finally decided to release a digital version. To cut a long review short, Suikoden II is one of the best games ever made, and if you like a good RPG, then it would be criminal not to add this to your collection. Suikoden II takes place 3 years after the original game, and while it's highly recommended to play the original first, it is by no means necessary. If Suikoden 1 was a pre-season of the NFL, then Suikoden 2 would be the Super Bowl. Just about everything is significantly improved upon or perfected. Suikoden is about war. It's not about saving the planet from an evil godlike creature, it's about the politics and struggles of nations. Each Suikoden game has the same core idea behind it. You start off as a regular Joe and work your way up to become the leader of an army. In the beginning, your army are truly the underdogs, low on numbers and up against a powerhouse enemy who seem invincible. The way the tables turn is truly incredible. Every single event, twist and turn is a pleasure to watch unfold, right up until the final victory. But it doesn't end there. The number of characters you've recruited through the game and how certain events have been dealt with will dictate the conclusions of many of the characters' personal stories. What more can I say? The story of Suikoden is perfection, and I can say that about very few games out there. Suikoden 2 features over 100 recruitable characters, most of which can fight on your party. Some characters have an incredibly deep history, while others play a very minor role, but you can't expect 100 Cloud Strifes in a single game. The bad guys are just as strong as the main cast. This is war, and many of them are doing what they believe is best. Some of these antagonists are really likeable, it's just that they're on the other side of the battleground. Then there is Luca Blight. For those who have played the game, need I say more? The Prince of Highland has had a rough upbringing, and it shows. He is the epitome of pure evil. For me, he is also the most memorable villain next to Sephiroth, and taking him down is one of the most epic events in video game history. Shortly into the game, you'll become the leader of the army and acquire a nice little castle. It may start rather small and relatively empty, but as you travel the world, progress through the plot, and recruit characters to your cause, the castle will get larger and the rooms will fill up. Some characters add a lot to the castle too. For example, recruiting Hilda and Alex will turn a section of your castle into an inn where you can rest and buy items. Recruiting Hayo will open up a restaurant where you can order food and compete in cook-offs, which is just one of many mini-games that can be played in the castle, after recruiting the respective character of course. This whole build your castle and recruit your army system is what makes Suikoden Suikoden. Every time my castle expanded, and every time I recruited a new character, I found myself running around the castle, finding where they hung out, and seeing exactly what they added to my army. Suikoden has not one, but 3 battle systems. The main form of battle is pretty straightforward. Your 6 chosen characters take on enemies through attacks, abilities, and magic. The formation of your characters also play a role, as certain characters need to be in the front row to attack, while mages should naturally be placed in the back row to minimise the damage that they take. Certain characters can even unite with each other for unique combination attacks, so choosing a mix of characters who work effectively with one another is a requirement to take on some of the tougher battles. You're probably thinking, with so many characters, grinding must be a bitch. The term grinding, however, isn't in the Suikoden vocabulary. Low-level characters will reach the level of high-level characters in only a few battles. This makes experimenting with such a multitude of characters very easy and worthwhile. The second battle system is the 1 vs 1 duels. You'll participate in about a dozen of these through the game, and they are very different to normal battles. You have three options: attack, wild attack, and defend. Attack beats defend beats wild attack, and wild attack beats attack. It's basically paper, rock, scissors, except for the fact that your opponent will speak to you before every action, giving you a hint about what they're going to do next. These are a lot of fun, and I wish there were more of them throughout the game. The final system is huge. Suikoden is war, so it wouldn't feel right if there weren't epic war battles. The war scenarios require you to divide your army into different units and strategically move them around the battlefield to defeat the enemy army. Different characters give units different statistics and abilities, so carefully planning out the makeup of each and every unit is needed. There is an unexplainable sense of excitement created when you successfully defeat an army of thousands through a well-planned strategy. This is what Suikoden is all about. Suikoden II borrows a lot of the traditional JRPG mechanics that you would expect from a game in its era. Travelling between dungeons and towns is done on a large world map, with random enemy encounters being the initiator of battles. What's really cool here is that the Suikoden battle system is fast. The time it takes to enter a battle, run, then return to the world map or dungeon is literally only seconds. There's also an auto attack command, as well as the option to let go, which provides a 100% chance of running away. This ensures every battle takes as little time as possible. Sure, at the time of the epic PlayStation Final Fantasy releases, a lot of people may have been put off by sprites, which is a crying shame. The sprites of Suikoden II are very detailed with plenty of variation and smooth animations. These sprites and colourful backgrounds quite easily pull you into the world of Suikoden. The music is amazing too. While some of the town tunes can get a tad repetitive, there is still so much atmosphere and emotion created when there needs to be. Suikoden 2's official soundtrack is definitely one of my favourites. There's very little negative that I can say about this game. The translation from the Japanese version, however, is very ordinary. There are several pieces of dialogue in the game that just don't make sense, such as a cat that says "Sonya" and a servant that urges players to "please accept the job," which has no relation to anything whatsoever. Fixing this for the PSN release would have been nice. However, after all the years of playing the game, these mistranslations add a little to the charm. For 15 years now, when people have asked me what RPG they should play next, my default response has always been, play the Suikoden series. Of course, I knew there was next to no chance they'd ever be able to get their hands on it, but I felt they needed to know anyway. Things have now changed. Suikoden 2 is now available on the PlayStation Store for the PS3 and the PSP, making it accessible to just about everyone. As you've no doubt worked out by now, I love Suikoden 2. And to anyone out there who has any interest in JRPGs, this game is a must play. The memorable characters, the amazing story, the epic war scenarios, the feeling that you get running your own army and recruiting the multitude of characters. These aspects have been matched by very few games, ever. Suikoden 2 is the whole package. As a final note to all those Suikoden fans out there, I encourage you to follow the links and join the Suikoden Revival Movement. You can thank them and the actions that they've taken over the past couple of years for this PSN release. But their job isn't done yet. They need your support to help make Suikoden 6 a reality. If you liked this review, please subscribe. Thanks for watching.